What's up, guys? This is Tabletop Vibes, and today we're taking a look at Lairs by KTBG. And this game is a freaking blast. I lost
23-9. So you
yes.
were obliterated.
Yes, I might not have built my dungeon correctly. Anyways, this game is amazing. It's a lot of fun. It's a dungeon crawler builder, push your luck, race to the finish feel, where so the story goes that you're an adventurer trying to get into the Adventurers Guild. And so you're used to being in like dungeons and walking around and exploring things, and now you have to build your own dungeon for you, and you're in competition against another dungeoneer, I guess.
Yeah, to make sure that you would be able to survive a wizard's dungeon.
Right, and so you're going to get pitted up against another adventurer trying to get the same golden ticket or Adventurer Guild card, and you get dropped into their black dungeon that they've built, and you build your own, and they get dropped into yours, and then whoever can find 3 treasures, or kill 2 monsters, or knock out whatever you have, and or find 2 treasures, and then find the exit and escape, and has the most victory points wins in this game.
Exactly. So what's nice about this is, first off, there's amazing replayability, because you can build your dungeon differently every single time. And there is legal and illegal ways, so you have to make sure that your paths don't have you go through more than 2 monsters or 2 traps to get to either a chest or the exit.
She built it illegally.
I didn't. I totally won, and we are going to prove it with pictures of my 23 points dungeon that came through.
We'll show her cool dungeon. I decided to play on too many corners, that's why.
He did. But I did the basic, like, this is where you start, this is where you end, but I just made it kind of confusing along the way.
Yeah, so essentially when you're building it, you get 20 walls, and you get 3 treasures, 3 monsters, 3 traps, and so there's traps and monsters. You have to create a path that has either one trap or 1 monster leading to the exit. You can't double up traps and monsters.
Right.
Because that's illegal. And you can use all the way up to 17 out of the 20 walls, and you're just configure however you want, and you can't box anything in.
Right. So based on the different treasures that you encounter, there's different treasure cards.
Yeah, these are cool.
That they can either build upon each other, and then there's rewards for different things. So one of my treasure cards is that if you had no unknown spaces, meaning I'd navigated every place in the dungeon, that I got an extra 3 victory points.
Yeah, she had more points than me in just 2 of her treasure cards. And like the really fun part about this is, right, this is a 2-player game, and like Joy stated, there's a lot of replayability. Each time you're trying to think of ways to build your dungeon that didn't work the last time.
Right.
Or worked. And then you have this little cool map, like you're writing on and you're tracking your movements, and then on your board or your side, you're tracking your opponent's movements to represent where they are. So like it kind of has like the battlefield aspect where you're like A3, B5, and like you're telling where you're going to move to. And so it's just a lot of fun because you get this feeling of searching. You're trying to hurry because you feel this like, oh, I got to get there before they find their stuff. But at the same time, you can't rush through it because there's traps and monsters.
And then 2, let's say you automatically find the exit. You're like, woohoo! That doesn't automatically trigger a win. It triggers end of game. There is victory points, an additional 4 points if you're the first one to find the exit. But if you have way less points than the other person, then it doesn't benefit you. So I actually found the exit in the dungeon earlier on, but instead I chose to stay and explore.
Points. At that point, I had more points.
At that point. Well, and I knew I wanted to explore more. And so by the end, I had gotten all 3 monsters and all 3 treasures, thus 23 points.
Yes. And so you can't actually leave the dungeon until you have the prerequisite, which is 3 treasures, 2 monsters, and 2 treasures. And that's the prerequisite to get out. But doesn't mean you're going to win, because most victory points wins. So how do you do these things? What do you get to do on your turn? So they have cubes. There's like a little tracker. So you have conserved, fresh cubes, spent cubes, and fatigue cubes. So we'll just talk about initially monsters and traps. If you go into a monster or trap when it's unknown, which means you don't know that they're there, they attack you. So usually you have to lose any 2 cubes from your board.
Correct.
To fatigued, which then, because each turn they're going to level up. And then so the spent goes to ready, and then conserved you get to use twice, and fatigue goes back to spent.
Correct. And then in order to overcome a monster or trap, you do have to roll actual dice. Yes. And in order to do that, you have to trade in cubes that each cube equates to a die.
Right.
To roll against the monster.
Yeah, so you have to do like a character check to see if you can pass it or get out of the trap. They also don't hold you there, but if you go back again, you still have to fight it. And you want to fight them because monsters get you victory points after you get past the first one. And traps with certain cards, like I had a treasure card that was, I got 2 victory points per trap I had, which didn't help me at all because I only had 1 trap.
Right. So a little bit of a D&D feel when you're trying to roll against the monster as you go through.
Exactly. And so you can do a move called peer, which is the green cube, and you can peer into the adjacent space.
As long as there's not a wall there. So essentially you're getting binoculars to like peek in and be like, ooh, what's in here?
Right. And so, which is very helpful. So if you peer into a room and there's a monster there, that room becomes known. So there's a lot of like on your little player board that you're writing, there's unknown rooms and known. You're going to be checking these things off.
There's specific iconography
to show what's in the room or what's not in the room. But if you peer into a room with a monster or a trap, when you go into it, the room is now known and it can't hurt you as much, which is helpful.
Correct.
And then there's also what's it called? Hustle. I failed at this one like every freaking time. You were doing great. Hustle.
So I'll explain Hustle then since I handled it. So within the different cubes that you have, there's white cubes. The green is the peer that he just explained, and then the yellow is the hustle. So that allows you to move up to 3 spaces, and you get to know each space that you go into. However, if there is a trap or a monster or the treasure chest within one, so if the room is full of something, you stop along the way.
Right, it halts your movement, and you can't hustle any further for that turn.
Correct. Now, you can also use 2 white cubes to equate to either a green or a yellow cube.
Right, which is helpful. It's expensive, but it's helpful.
Right.
But if you also have conserved cubes, because you can choose at the end of your turn to conserve whatever cubes you have left if you don't want to spend
that you didn't spend
for your next turn, which then equates as 2 actions before it goes to spent.
Correct. The yellow cube also equates to a backup.
Backtrack, yeah.
Backtrack, where you can move through as many known spaces back to another known space.
Right. So, like, if you have a bunch of uncovered stuff, you can literally just run. Well, you did it perfectly to me.
Exactly. So, kind of my strategy, right, is that I figure out the whole board, and then I had known every space, and then using the backtrack option, I went back to the 2 monsters I hadn't defeated yet, picked up both of them, and then got to the exit and called it a day with 23 points.
And I still hadn't found a treasure, 2 traps, or the exit. But I did slay all my monsters.
He did.
Not well though. The third one took me 3 times because I was trying to be cheap on dice. Mm-hmm. And so I was only spending 2 cubes to get 2 dice. And I failed, I think I failed both those times. Which equated to me losing more cubes. Oh, man. So the game is super fun.
Yeah.
Because, you're trying to figure out, do you want to push your luck? Do you want to keep finding out what's in that next room? Because you want to. It's like gambling feel where you're like, it has to be the treasure. And then it's not. Or the most frustrating is when it's an open room with no walls.
Yes, because you're like, where do I go from here? But that's the fun part about this, too, is that I love all the different components of this game because, again, you can custom craft your dungeon. You're like, ooh, where else do I want to put the walls to kind of throw them for a loop or force them into a monster to kind of create that confusion. And then I also love there's a little bit of chance with the dice rolling and then different strategies that you can choose as how far you want to push your luck.
Yeah, I think, what we were saying, too, is, you start to understand that the walls are actually more helpful than not because they start to paint the picture of the room or the dungeon you're in, and then you hit to these open spaces, and now you have all these choices. Do you want to go C2, C4, whatever, all the different directions, right? And you're like, there's so many options, and then you've used your you peer into a room that's open. It's the worst.
Because you're like, really? That was
so I'm like, I'm peering into this room to see if I'm good, and then it's like, Joy's like, yeah, it's open. I'm like, any walls? Nope. Super. I just used my pure ability to look into nothing. Yeah. So again, it's just a really super great fun game. It's decently quick. Now that we know what you're doing. The other awesome part is there's I'm not going to spoil anything.
Yes.
But there is a more advanced play where it adds different monsters, different traps, gets you victory points for different things, and so there's 2 little boxes that come. There could be more, and then you're exploring these different hidden missions. Aspects of the game, which can just keep making it more in-depth and more strategic after you get past the base.
Absolutely. And we've played a lot of 2-player games, and some of them are kind of just lacking a little bit. This has everything that you're looking for. We're definitely signing up
we're
for it.
we're excited to get this because one, I need to try again for sure, and two, it's a blast and it's easy to teach people. It's also probably a really good gift to give to couples.
It is, and it's for ages 10 and up.
Yeah.
And what's nice is that I feel like it's cute artwork, but it's interesting enough that, you know, if you're not 10, you're still gonna like it.
Yeah, and this is a prototype, so everything could change, but it's pretty decently final looking as of now, so it looks really beautiful still, but it is a prototype. The game is out on Kickstarter, so definitely check them out. Like, subscribe, and comment if you like what you see and you want to see more of it. We're Tabletop Vibes. Also, let us know what your favorite monster is, I guess.
All right, I'm gonna have to think about that one for a second, but I want you to comment best out of 3 who you think is gonna win, because I won round 1.
Listen, guys, stick with me, man. I can get this. I can do it. I believe in myself. Maybe not.
Sure.
But my favorite monster, I think, I would say, is Bigfoot.
Oof, I was gonna say Bigfoot. Just because of the artwork, I'm thinking Oogie Boogie.
Ooh, nice. I was also going to say the Chupacabra, just because it's fun to say.
Or Godzilla.
It's a monster.
I think so.
Let us know. We're Tabletop Vibes, and we'll check you next time.